Madridistas, thank you so much for joining us in the special edition episode of Message from the Chairman. We are going to be showcasing the latest, the brand new logo for Executive Madridismo. This is such a momentous occasion. I did not want to share this alone because this was definitely a process that was very, very specific. It was fun. It was historic. And I have a very, very special guest that is joining me here today to discuss and explain this logo for Executive Madridismo. He's the founding member, former chairman of Peña, Madridista, San Francisco Bay Area. He's coming to us from San Diego, California. Please, I'd like you to welcome Mr. Kenneth Jamora.
Hi, Christian. Thank you very much. Thank you for letting me be on this episode, and it's truly an honor to be a part of your show.
Kenneth, how are you doing, first of all?
I'm doing great, you know, as well as it can be in this crazy times. Yeah, just trying to make it, you know, make it safely.
That's great. That's great. So I'm going to leave the floor to you, fellow former chairman and founding member, sir. So if you would like to begin your presentation, I'm going to leave it up to you, and you can share your screen and just go right into it. And then if you need me to come in, I will definitely come in, okay?
Just a preface for the audience, Christian approached me with a request, and I was honored for starters because it combines two passions of mine, one being design and the other being Real Madrid. And so we talked about direction, we talked about inspiration, we talked about certain keywords that would be useful to help describe the logo. And it helped me with a launching point to, come up with some ideas on how to hit the target with the branding in regard, as well as, something that is pays homage to Real Madrid, our beloved team. So with that said, I'm gonna show a series of screens, and basically it's a step-by-step process on how we came up with the final design. It's a reflection of the person or the organization that it represents. Without further ado, let's start the show. And we started this project back in late June. So when we talked about keywords, and keywords that you mentioned were elegant, polished, insightful, cream of the crop, and Alfredo Di Stefano. These were not only keywords to represent Executive Madridismo, but it's also something that's a reflection of our club, Real Madrid. So what I did here was create a sort of inspiration board of things that just kind of help inspire the design of it. So I'm not going to go into each individual mark here, but I will actually launch into the first step. So one of the challenges was finding a mark that was elegant. And so I went through a series of different letters. I think I have over 1,000 fonts, but I narrowed it down to a few. And one of the groups of fonts that I wanted to use is Bodoni was one, and Ditto is another one. But then I found this one, which is based off the Voga font, and the designer is Charles Doad, but he's a Canadian designer, typeface designer, creates some really great fonts. And in fact, his inspiration for this font called Voga was based off of Bodoni and Ditto. So it had a really nice, elegant E, which has some nice thicks and thins, which you know, is something that, you know, is a little more elegant than, like, you know, say a sans serif font like, you know, Helvetica, which is a little more modern. And so this E was kind of something I wanted to work with and take to the next step. So E obviously is representative of the E of Executive Madridismo. And so the next thing I wanted to do was kind of create a polished look. And so I couldn't find the right M, so I created one myself. And so I wanted something that would play off the thicks and thins of the E. And so I created this M, not only as a representation of Madridismo, but also something to show elegance, such as a bow tie. So I created a stylized M that, and in fact, is like 3 of the 4 sides of a bow tie, or sorry, of side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 4 of the sides of the 6-sided bow tie. So that was a launching point to the next step. Cream of the crop. Now, the beauty of being Madridistas and you know, fans of Real Madrid is that our trophy case, yeah, is overflowing. If anybody has been to the Bernabeu tour, you can see why. I mean, there's a lot of rich history and tradition with Real Madrid, and it shows. So I experimented with several different crowns, including the Queen's crown that Real Madrid uses in its own logo. But it was something that was really heavy, and I decided to explore other options. And I looked at this mark, and it's very simple. And I wanted a crown to complement it. And so I found a 3-pointed crown and kind of offset it a little bit. So what you're starting to get here is a sort of personification of the logo. You've got the E that acts as the head of the logo. You've got the bow tie in the form of the M, and now you have a crown. So we have a personification of the logo. Create some variations off this elegant mark, and in this case, we have a sans serif font that complements the logo with Executive Madridismo. Let me go to the second one. This one, it was inspired by a ribbon, but it's a very tall logo with a very tall, thin font for Executive Madridismo. Decided to get a little more playful with it by adding arms to represent a trophy, to represent the rich history of Real Madrid. I also explored a serif font to kind of contrast from the other fonts that were from the previous 2 designs. I also wanted to show a color palette. This one was just an exploration. I believe when I asked Christian, like which colors best represent Real Madrid or Executive Madridismo, he mentioned purple. And for a while there, I was just like, okay, you know, exploring purple, and I wanted a secondary color. And so I chose its complement on the color wheel, which is more of a yellowish color. And I presented this, but after discussion, we started to talk about Real Madrid's history, and Christian mentioned the 1941 Real Madrid logo, which is this. And so this sparked an idea. It's like, why not leverage this palette here? You know, it's something that will, you know, stays true to the intentions of the logo, which is to honor Real Madrid, but particularly a golden period of Real Madrid. Not only did we talk about the colors, we also talked about some of the elements of the final logo. And while Christian liked this particular mark, he asked if he can remove the arms of it and just have the E and the typeface become, be part of the logo. So this is the final result. So here it is working in black and white. On the left-hand side, you have the black logo on a white background and how it would look. And on the right side, you'll see that there's a white logo on the background. So this adheres to the different applications that this logo can appear on. And voila, the final color result. Ta-da!
All right, bravo, Mr. Jamora. I have to say, phenomenal work, phenomenal work. It was a terrific process. You nailed it on the head, I have to say, because this process was really tedious. This is a brand new concept. We are both students of Real Madrid history, passionate for the club, passionate for the sport, passionate for showcasing terrific opinion and debate and history lesson, storytelling, and in this channel being that medium for fans and for us that have so many deep connections with Real Madrid, this being a home for those to come onto the YouTube channel Executive Madridismo. This logo represents everything, encompassing everything into this. That was why it took a bit of time. It didn't happen overnight, and most things that are phenomenal don't happen overnight. They take time to grow, and they take time to evolve. The color scheme is something that happened at our final meeting before the final, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great thing. I mean, you were part of the design process here. And in fact, the final color result is your contribution to the logo. So I like that, you have a personal touch here. I'm the person with the paintbrush, but
Absolutely.
definitely you're definitely an influence.
Now a couple of questions for you, Kenneth. So during the process, after our first meeting, you went through 1,000 fonts, correct, for the letter E, as you mentioned.
Correct.
So that was the root of where you started. You started there with the E and looking for trying to figure out the M. Did you have any other preliminary design that you didn't go with, that you discarded immediately, maybe, or did you just go right into the abbreviations?
Well, here's one. So here's a bunch of little sketches that I came up with, just serve as design inspiration. And I wanted to the challenge here was Executive Madridismo is a very long word. I don't expect you to change, your branding anytime soon. So it was just something that, was a constraint that I need to work with. And, I took the acronym EM as a source of inspiration. And for example, in one of them, it's like, it's like the E with a crown on it, with an M. I started exploring different possibilities, because the E and the M are similar fonts. I decided to play with, some shapes, and I went away from the crown because the typical Real Madrid crown, because one, it didn't flow well with the elegant mark that we were creating for Executive Madridismo. And two, we've seen it a million times. However, I did not want to take away something that, didn't seem like it had Madridismo in it. So that was the challenge, is how do you keep the Madridismo into the logo without using, conventional imagery. And so, yes, I did, I did explore a bunch of fonts. I was looking through 1,000. I was just typing in there. It's like, okay, that one, that one, that one. And then, you know, I stumbled upon Bedoni, which is a very elegant font. However, it was very short. It's short and round, and it has a lot of, it's a serif font. And then there's another font called Ditto, which is a taller font. And then I just happened to do research on the fonts themselves and searched, and there was a font created not too long ago called Voga, which is inspired by, strangely enough, Bedoni and Ditto. And so I started exploring that mark, and it's like, wow, that's an elegant E. It's very tall. It's something you can work with. It's has a little more interest than just like a sans serif font, or a serif font for that matter. And so I sat with it for a while, and it's like, what can I do to this? And
Great.
then
Great. That's terrific. Now, the for those that are out there that are looking to create something new, they're looking to have a logo made for their product, for their service. What are the things that people need to have in mind before taking a meeting with you? What do they need to have in their head going into a project like this?
That's a really good question. When we first sat down, I asked a bunch of questions. I asked, like what are some words you would use to describe your venture or your logo or your business or yourself, for that matter, if it's a self-promotion piece. And you actually had a lot of ideas, and that's the thing, like the client is not devoid from the design process. I mean, the client is actually very important in the design process. So when you come to the table, to answer your question, to come to the table, know who you are, or know your business, or know the organization that you seek to find representation. Going from personal experience, the creation for the Peña Madridista San Francisco Bay Area logo, before there was no presence, there was no logo, there was very little information on social media. And this is the power of design. It's like when you create a logo that actually represents something, people gravitate towards that. It's like, oh no, oh wow, that's like something, you can identify with. This is a mark that, represents, a particular group of people. So for you, like this mark, Executive Madridismo, represents you, your brand, your guests, as well as the organization of Real Madrid, in which you pay homage to.
Thank you very much, Kenneth. And it was an honor and pleasure on my part as well to have you be a part of this and to help in creating the face of Executive Madridismo digitally for the channel and for our social media and beyond, really. And hopefully there'll be the beginning of many, many more that will come. But it was really phenomenal to work with someone that's so passionate as much as I am about Real Madrid, and is also so terrific in the craft of design, because this is exactly what this is. This is design from nothing. This is literally, you're running your creative juices, and this logo really hits the home run. All right, Kenneth, thank you very much for presenting the official logo for Executive Madridismo. It'll be shown moving forward immediately on future video. And so before I end this video, I'd like to send a special message of solidarity to our friends in Lebanon, specifically Peña Madridista Lebanon, and my dear friend Barra Hassan, who's the president of that Peña, going through a very difficult time. A lot of unrest, a lot of extraordinary events have been going on over there. Terrible loss of property, terrible loss of life, and so we just send thoughts and prayers to all of them, and hopefully they're all safe, and all the families and friends that are connected with Lebanon and what's going on there, that they're being affected. I hope that there's a prayer and a thought, and that everything sorts itself out sooner rather than later. Life is the most important thing that we have to hold on to.
Correct.
So
well said.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Kenneth. A la Madrid nada más, and I'll see you guys next time. Thank you.